a lot. I wanted to show you this. Seismic is a company that was very invested in this idea of keeping the design clean and manicured and having, paying attention to the small stuff. And I thought this was interesting. We generated, how many are there? 53 bugs. This was 53 bugs that we generated in a bug bash, a visual bug bash. Just trying, this was after we thought we were done, by the way. Just trying to get the visuals right on that application. Just trying to tweak things until it felt clean and it felt like the way we wanted it to feel. Okay, number 7. We're getting through these, guys. This is actually going pretty quick. I'm glad, because I was worried on time. Number 7 is be bold. So this is a hard thing to do when you're a new designer, because you don't have a lot of confidence yet as a designer, and it's hard. And it makes you feel kind of like you're exposing yourself, right? Like you're going out there. It's like wearing a big fancy dress to the prom or something like that. Like you feel like you're doing something feels not like you. Feels different. I've never done that, by the way. But I can imagine, right, that it would feel that way. I don't know why that came to mind. That's funny. So I'll show you an example of where I messed this up. This is the Seismic application. This was the first comp that I delivered when we were translating over to Silverlight. This is the first comp that I delivered to Seismic. And it's not bad. I think it's actually pretty nice. Basically, the direction they gave me was, they wanted to carry forward as much of the WPF version of the application as they could. We had this big problem, though, which was that we didn't have glass anymore, right? Because there's no way to create the glass borders in Silverlight. And so I sent this to them, and everybody was kind of blah on it. And finally, Marco sat down with me, and he said, we need to make it a little bit more interesting. What can we do? And I said, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. What can we? He said, can we do something in the background to make it feel more like glass? And I said, well, we could put like an aqua color there or something. It just didn't feel right. And he said, well, what if we let the user choose the background? And as soon as we did that, we got this. And all of a sudden, this application that had been very ho-hum became very, very alive. And the color is a great way to be bold. It's a great way to stake your claim. So honestly, I wish that I could go back and tell younger me to be bolder. I kind of wish I could tell like living me, like me right now, to be more willing to be bold. The worst thing that can happen when you make a bold decision is that somebody asks you to tone it down. But generally, people respect that decision, has been my experience, and they might ask you to tone it down. That's fine. Here's another example of the customizable background. This one's my favorite, by the way. I think that one's really cool. The last app I want to talk about is an application called todo.show. And when I started designing this application, I thought I was being very bold. I was pushing myself, and I thought, man, I am doing it. I'm the design man. I'm bold. Check it out. And I produced this, and I thought, look at all the pink. I'm so bold. It's not that this is boring, right? But this application is gray, and it's like all the other gray applications with a little bit of pink. Actually, let me see something. Okay. Yeah, with a little bit of pink. And so I'll tell you a story about this. I'm trying to remember the order of the story, but we were watching the Olympics. My wife and I were watching the Olympics, and I'd gotten some feedback on this, and I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. But I'd gotten some feedback on this design that something wasn't quite working. Somebody told me that it wasn't really doing it for them, and I couldn't believe it because it was the boldest thing I'd ever produced, I thought. And I saw this commercial, so I want to show you these 2 commercials while we were watching the Olympics.
The Accord Cross Tour with available 4-wheel drive from Honda.
There's one more.
It fits without fitting in. Introducing the Accord Cross Tour from Honda.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy a Honda now, by the way. I saw those and I loved them, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but my poor wife had to watch them like 30 times with me, which went back and back and back, and I don't think we actually saw the figure skating that night, unfortunately. So, Did you guys see those commercials? Anybody see them? Were they impactful for you too? They're cool, right? I mean, at the very least, they're cool. Like, you can't not notice them. The other one that's really funny is that Old Spice commercial that was on during the Olympics. Anyway. So, what's that? Oh, yeah. Kazamel branded Hondas. Yeah, we'll produce that for you. Actually, you know what? You can brand your own Honda with a Kazamel sticker. So just let me know if you want to do that. It'll be a Honda Accord branded Kazamel sticker. So if anybody wants that. Okay, so, and this is kind of a segue into the next thing that I want to talk about, which is this. If you want to nail a design, you need to work really, really hard. It's going to be hard. Then you need to seek feedback, and then you have to go back and start all over. And that is exactly what I did with todo.show, which is this task management application that I was just showing you. So unfortunately, I can't actually show you the app. That one is still not quite ready for production. But I did think that you guys might find this kind of interesting. I use a subversion server, and I check in all of my designs into subversion. And so I can do this thing where I can go back and I can see like my thinking. It's really cool. It's a little tool called Pixel Story, I think, if you want to track that down. So this was the process for me designing the new version, the redesigned version, after I saw that commercial. So I came back and I thought, I need more color, right? And I also thought maybe I should start using color in a way that makes a little bit more sense. So the first thing I did is I thought, well, what if I color code the text, right? And different colors could mean like the project that task is assigned to or something like that. So I started going through it. We also had this idea for data visualization, so it looks like I added that there. By the way, I definitely did not think this design was final at this point, right? So just so you know, got a better eye than that. Started building out some of the areas for the design. And then I thought, I guess like between these two transitions, I thought the color wasn't quite working on the text. Oh, you're missing it. It's cut off, unfortunately. But on the sides, there's a little bit like strip of color now. That's too bad. That's okay, though. I only have one screen, too. So then kept iterating and iterating. Then I thought, you know, one of the things I loved in that commercial was how stark the color felt. And I thought, well, maybe the way they achieved that was by putting that color on such a dark background. So I started playing with that. We got to here, and all of a sudden it was starting to feel right. And what you can't see is there should be little color wedges on the left-hand side there that allow you to correlate the folder between, you know, the actual task. Then I thought, well, when you're entering a task, we should allow you to affiliate that with the project that you're looking at. So what if we extend that color down? Then it doesn't feel so stark, too, because I didn't know how I was going to manage that transition, right? Because you have the project tab, and it would feel like it was kind of hanging off, maybe, if it was a stark transition there. So I thought, well, what if we bring that color down? And then I think I tweaked a couple, yeah, so you can see a little transition there. I just tweaked some of the colors. And this is where we ended up with that design. It's not quite done. There's some other things that we need to do. But I thought that might be interesting for you to see how that process worked for me. So let's review it. I built something. I got some feedback that it wasn't working, right? And I agreed, to be honest. So I started thinking about why it wasn't working, and I realized it needed to be bolder. I needed more color. In my mind, like in the back of my mind, I began this process internally of looking for inspiration, right? Then when I ran into those set of commercials, something about them clicked, and I thought, oh, that must be why. I'm looking for color. I'm looking for people who are being bolder. And then in this kind of weird way, that commercial ended up migrating and becoming something like this. So I thought that would be interesting. Okay. So awesome. Okay. Design attack number 9 is know yourself. And this is the little anecdote that I wanted to share about that. The feedback that I got on that was that the application that I had created. Oh no, actually, let me step back and tell you a different story. When I was working on Seismic at one point, I got some feedback that it's really nice. Somebody said, man, I really love it. It's just like Kazamel. And I thought, oh, well, that's not what I want to hear at all, right? Like, I do not. Last thing I want to hear is that I've just, you know, one of the bigger opportunities I'll have this year is just like the other thing that I do. So I was sort of upset by that. And then